Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kodansha Comics presentation for WonderCon at home. We're happy to have you guys today. We're Kodansha, the manga publisher of Akira, Attack on Titan, Fairy Tail, Ghost in the Shell, Sailor Moon, and a whole lot more manga, which we're going to talk about today. Who are we? Start with me. My name is Misaki. Nice to meet you. And what about you guys?
My name is Ivan Salazar. I'm a Kodansha senior marketing director, I just really love manga and happy to talk to everybody about all the cool stuff that's out there.
Cool. Right on.
Cool. Hi, I'm Tomo. I'm also on the marketing team. You see the Vertical Comics logo behind me. That's because I work on a lot of the vertical titles, the vertical imprint titles, and today I'll share with you a few vertical recommendations as well.
Right on. Kodansha and Verticals are were our sister companies. Now we are under one blanket, so
Yes.
we are basically a family. So today we would like to talk about the program is called Kodansha Got Weird Manga. And by weird, we mean we are proud of it. We are proud of the diverse group of manga that we have published from our company. And today we would like to introduce some of our new mangas as well as our personal favorites. So you guys won't run out of things to read while you're staying at home. The good news is that all of our mangas are available on all these digital platforms mentioned. So you can get it right away and read it as soon as you get it too. All our current releases are available there, as well as our digital debut titles, out-of-print titles, and some of our latest chapters are also available as simulpub that comes out as soon as it comes out in Japan, so you can keep up with all our stories. So today we would like to talk about some of our recommendation by category. And the first category that we have is new series. Ivan, do you want to start?
Yeah. So what's it called? Something just came out recently. It's called The Sign of Affections by Sue Morishita. It kind of follows a lot of the trappings of what you would expect a normal shoujo manga to be. Though what's really great about the main character is that they're actually a deaf character that uses sign language and actually like modern technology like her phone to be able to communicate with people around her. I think I think what makes this nice is that they're though the her deafness presents a small hurdle like around her life, and you see like her perspective about how she struggles with it, like communicating with her friends and the people around her. I think that this is a really unique perspective where it's just like there's a kind of cautiousness around her to like let new people in, and I think that viewing that through the lens of like a romantic entanglement is kind of really sweet. Like it's you see the people around her that sort of know her, interact with her, and none of it has ever been presented as like a kind of burden, at least not in the volume that I've read so far. And so I think that this is like a very like a very nice way to tell this kind of story. It's really just kind of like a strangers meet, and then there's romantic feelings that bud from there. But I like the fact that we're actually seeing characters use sign language in manga is really cool. And the manga was saying that sorry for some of the movements, they aren't complete. It's you do with manga and general graphic storytelling in general, you can only capture like one frame of a movement. So
I would imagine it's hard to capture like a whole sequence of sign language in a manga.
Exactly. Yeah. But they
But
the
is this
manga
a
does
sign?
pretty good job. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I thought that this scene was really cute because it was this dude walks her to the station, and then they have this conversation over text. There's like let me into the world of Yuki, and she's like, I don't know how to respond to that. And
Mm.
her response to it is just this like very joyful, like sort of like expression. And I was like, that is very cute.
Oh,
Like it's
that's
very
really
sweet.
cool.
Um,
Yeah, the boy, the main character, the guy seems to not to really care about the fact that she has a
mhm.
disability.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Like, and I think that it's fascinating because like the character, like that character himself, he's just like knows a bunch of different languages, and I think that that is a very cool like plot point that he views like sign language and communicating with her as just another way to like learn a language, and so
Wow.
rather than it being a barrier, he's very curious about it, and so like I think that's like the avenues to tell a love story around this concept are a lot like nicer, cuter, and easier than I would have imagined.
Mm. This is a fantastic recommendation. We have a lot of very strong shoujo titles too,
Mm.
but there's a lot of new ones that's coming out that is very experimental in nature, and
Mm.
also really strong storytelling around development of relationship between people in general.
Yeah.
So I love shoujo manga in that sense. Uh, Anything else you want to talk about this piece?
No, I think I want to give everybody equal time to be able to talk
Okay,
about their
cool,
mangas
cool.
they got
All
recommended.
right. Thank you. So the
Yeah.
next up is a new series recommendation from Tomo.
Yeah.
Tomo, you have chosen an interesting piece right here.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the blood on the tracks.
Yeah, definitely. So Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. I think you recognize his name.
Oh
He's done
yeah.
Happiness, The Flowers of Evil, etc., etc.
those
Um,
those are some of my favorite series from Vertical too.
yeah, and then this just came out I think this year, and yeah, we're just really excited to release it. I got really hooked on it. The premise is about Seiichi. You see him on the cover here.
Uh-huh.
He's still a baby, so cute on the cover, but we meet him
But
when he's a we meet him as a school student. He's an ordinary middle school student, I think, and then but you know actually the catch is he has a really really overprotective mom.
oh,
His
okay.
mother is a little bit I would say like a little bit of psycho, or I
Oh,
don't know, super overprotective. If you go back to the cat scene, um you know
is he touching a dead cat right here?
yeah, so
Huh.
the mom, he's like, oh, what happened to the cat? And it feels cold, and the mom is like, I think it's dead. And then Seiichi's like, oh really? And then I think the panel goes to the mom's face and she's smiling. And I'm like, what is going on here? Why is she smiling at a dead cat? So my thinking is maybe she killed the cat for some reason. We don't know. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know what's happening. Um, and then
to teach him the weight of life or something.
life, I don't know. There's also like, if we keep going, the imagery that Oshimi paints throughout the series is very beautiful, as you know.
Yeah, is this watercolor painting here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it looks
think,
that way.
Yeah, it's really yeah, he's a skilled artist for sure. Yeah.
like, and just like the expression on the characters' faces. I think it's great. I know, like later in the story, he's a middle school student, so of course, like he's attracted to females, and then one of the girls, I think they have a kind of attraction to each other, and he invites her over to the house, and then later he gives the girl gives him a love letter, and he's like really really happy about it.
Mm.
But then for some reason, I don't know how, but the mom knew about the love letter.
Mom
She's
always
like
knows, man.
very, very angry about it. And then
Oh,
how she reacts is so like creepy. I don't want to give, the what happens, but
you're giving me the tension of what's happening without, yeah, without even the spoiler of what's actually happening.
it was just like, oh my gosh, this mom is crazy. And so, yeah, this is definitely a page turner. Definitely recommend it if you're a Oshimi Shuzo fan. Even my wife, she doesn't read manga as much as I do, but she read it and she was like, "Where's the next volume?" And I was like,
Oh,
"We haven't printed it yet, so please hold on." So
is the volume one available now? How many
yeah,
volumes out?
it's available in print right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think volume 2 will be coming out very soon. And just a tidbit on the title, a lot of people have been asking why is it called Blood on the
Blood on
Track.
the Track. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
wondering about that too.
It's actually a reference to Bob Dylan's song. Yeah.
Oh,
So Oshimi said like he got inspiration. He was listening to the song, and then this kind of this this piece kind of came to him, and so that's
wow.
Yeah.
it's
That's
called.
that's really amazing. Look at his drawings right here too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
No,
within like
impressive.
one page, he's just like paints like a whole scenery.
yeah. And it's really interesting because like I think happiness like deals with such like beautiful night imagery that like it's very unsettling to see him draw like epic day imagery and still be
Mm.
like a horror sort of like element to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
that like even though that scenery looks like very beautiful and serene, it's also like feels very menacing. So
Menacing.
yeah.
Is this menacing?
Yeah,
No,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Is that the mother?
that's the mom. Yeah, and then
Okay.
I think he's yeah just showing her expression, and that's I just like how Oshimi does these like zooming of people's faces to show expression and bring emotion, and
Yeah. What is she thinking here?
Yeah, exactly.
we don't know.
We really don't
Murder.
know. Only mother knows.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely a Oshimi fan, and I kind of sometimes hesitate to tell that to my friends. Sometimes because it gives that impression that it's like a very uh, terrifying in like a psychological sense kind of story within like a very normal daily life setting. So I had this like a very menacing feeling, like Alvin was saying, when I was like reading. The Flowers of Evil.
Mhm.
That that one's one of the most scariest manga that I ever read in my life, in like in a mental sense. So like
Mhm.
if there's any aspect of that is in this manga too, I would have definitely loved to check out the Blood on the Track.
Yep.
Anything else you want to mention?
I think that's good. Yeah, just check it out.
Okay, cool. Right on. Thank you. So for my pick of the new series, I have chose Orient. First of all, I wanted to say how excited I am to come across like a brand new shonen series. I haven't like I kind of went into I started from like a very shonen manga like that's my favorite. But then the more I read, I kind of moved on to reading like other things like seinen or josei, like something for the older demographics. But every once in a while, I have this craving for just like, I just want like good story, like that is like just fun to read. And this is it. This is the one that I came across that made me remember like what it feels like to read manga for the first time. So the series is by the creator of Magi. He's a very experienced mangaka too. So you can totally tell that his skill level of story as well as art is really high up there. So I want to show you some of the pages here. Oh, and then remember that these pages are read from right to left, top to bottom. So if you want to follow these pages along, you kind of can in that way. So the story of Orient takes place in like a kind of fantasy bizarro world version of feudal era Japan. Main character Musashi and Kojiro, they're based off of the name of the historical samurais. They grew up together, fighting or training to fight to make a band of bushi or the warriors. But then when they actually grow up to be about teenagers, the world is a totally different place. in this world, the demon has kind of overtaken the entire society. So people are worshiping the warriors. These statues on the left page, they're supposed to be demons, and because those demons eat minerals, supposedly eat minerals and rocks, the most prestigious job in this world is to become a miner. So Musashi here, right here, is going along with it and saying what he really doesn't want to say, that his dream is to become a miner, and he really don't mean it. And meanwhile, his homie Kojiro grew out to be kind of like an outlaw, because his family is a Bushi family, the warrior family. So he's more treated like he's somebody to be looked down upon, kind of troublemakers of the society. So right here, he started to bring up about what Musashi said at school. Like he somehow heard that he wants to become a miner, and he confronts him. Obviously, he's like pushing him away on purpose, but he seems like to have a different intention to be doing this. Now, when Musashi actually becomes a miner, he finds out this hard truth that miners are not really like what they're really meant, said that they're going to be, but they're basically slaves and food to these like cute little stuffed animal looking demons. I mean, for how cute they are, there's some really gory thing that is actually happening here. All these people in the background are still doing the mining jobs here. And of course, because he's a main character, he decides to fight back the demons while no one else would try to help him. And in the middle of being sandbagged, he realized that he has always been deceiving himself to kind of fitting in a society, but that's not what he really wanted to do if his life is going to end this way. So when we all think that he's finished, he kind of awakens and remember his pride as a warrior, and then bam, his homie shows up in his like badass motorcycle. What? In a feudal era Japan. So what happens next? You have to find out by reading the manga. So check it out, Orient by Shinobu Ohata. Okay, so let's move on to the next category, which is dystopia.
Yeah.
Some relevance to the current state of the world, but I'm not going to go into it too much.
Yeah.
Let's start with Ivan's pick.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's kind of interesting. I think that with how difficult things are around right now, it's interesting to like experience worlds that like are having like the wildest problems versus the problems that we face that are currently facing every day.
I know, right?
Kind of why I picked like Dolly Kill Kill. Like it is. I think this is actually a great story for people who are fans of like Attack on Titan.
I love horror.
Like I think this like the basic premise is that aliens invade the world, and they aren't these like gray aliens or anything like that. They actually look like mascots, like from
Okay.
what's called a theme park, or like the
Oh,
mascots from the prefectures of Japan.
like the stuffed animal
Like
ones.
the stuffed animal ones.
Yeah.
But they're actually terrifying monsters that like when they show up, they're like sucking people into these like
I see the
vacuums.
vacuum going. Oh my god.
And it's not that like they easily slip in. It's just that like their bodies are being compressed to be able to fit into this thing.
Oh no. I don't
And
want to be
so,
compressed.
yeah. So like it starts off where just this like intense event happens, and then you have this time skip to like maybe I think like 6 months later, where you see this character who started off being like very optimistic about like what as long as we believe and say that it can be done, it can be done. And then an event happens where he like loses his friends and he loses his crush, and like it's like it feels like he doesn't have anything left but to like keep surviving. And then, you know, he runs into a group of people that are just trying their best to like continue every day and figure out what, like how to take down these giant mascots and how to like make humanity come back.
Wow. It's
so
usually like either a red flag or a sign of a hero when there's somebody very optimistic in a world like this.
yeah. But it is very interesting, like to see the events that sort of like crush this person's spirit, and but then the events that make them believe that they can come back again, like within the same first volume. So like I'm very excited to like read more of it. This like just came out recently, but like I think the art is fantastic. The monster,
I see it. Yeah,
for how cute they are. They're like very terrifying.
It's actually really scary looking. Look at that bunny looking one like closest to us.
Yeah,
right
exactly. And you know, there's a fun narrative thing that I see in a lot of manga now, especially, you know, things that have like multiple enemies, is that they'll detail like, oh, it's this type of enemy, it's that type of enemy, and there are like different types in this world to like help understand how to fight them and like, or like capture them or move around them. So like I think like there is this really cool world that's being built, like slowly. Like they don't give you all the information at once, they let you experience it through the eyes of the characters. And for like a kind of like end of the world story, it was like this exciting, a bit intense, but like also very curious to see like, you know, how like the steps that humanity takes to fight back and like return.
Wow. So in Dolly Kill, the world, it's ruled by the cute stuffed animal.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. But it's funny because like they don't even know what the deal is. Like they don't even know why. Like because I'd imagine like if there was an actual like alien invasion, we wouldn't know why they're invading. We were just like, oh, they just want to take over the planet, I guess.
No further explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of like those manga series though, because it kind of immediately get you into like fight or flight mode.
Yeah, and I think like part of the fun of the series is going to be finding out why these dollies, is what they call them, like
dollies,
why they've invaded Earth, why they want the human,
why they so cute but so mean.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of like fun mystery as well as like action for this series. So very excited to read more.
Cool. Dolly Kill. Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Next one up is Apple Sims by Tsutomu Nihei.
Yeah. So this title, Apple Sims, as you mentioned, Nihei, people know him from Buramu or Knights of Sidonia, and you know this is his latest sci-fi story. And they talk about Apple Sims is they talk about it's a planet that they're on that's very, very cold. It's like Pluto or something. And our fearless group, you know, they're soldiers in training, and they're trying to battle the evil nemesis. And then if you go back to the other slide, there's this girl that appears. She's like a mysterious girl who helps our protagonist out. We don't know, you know, what she is, but she's like cutting up these tentacles and stuff, and
she's working on it. Which one is the nemesis?
The nemesis, he comes out later in the chapter. Okay. But the guy who you see with her, he looks like a skeleton. He's that's Ethro, and he's like one of the main characters. And the reason why he looks like that is there's like a disease called frame disease that affects people on the planet, and if you get it, and you look like a frame or like a skeleton, basically.
Looks like zombie to me, man. Him right here.
And then this is so to combat, you know, this he meets this robot too that's pretty interesting. He's trying to help him and give him medicine, and the way he gives him medicine,
it's like peeing.
He's like, hey, drink this, and he's like,
okay.
What is this? Like, yeah, don't, you know, it's not my bodily fluid.
Are you
So I like how Nihei, this is like a action and battle and serious series, but he injects these like funny moments into there.
Also
And
very funny.
yeah, and also like typical seinen, like the guy, he accidentally walks in to the restroom and the girl is like changing.
Oh
It's like
my God. Like that.
I like how Nihei always tries to inject those kind of parts into the story, and I like that.
Yeah, sometimes like the sci-fi gets like too serious, about their world. But in the case of Nihei, he like makes sure that people continues to like be entertained from like different angles, like from like kind of like a gag
Mhm.
aspect to it, or like the beautiful scenery aspect, and of course like he could draw like the cutest girls.
Yeah.
I love the way he draws like his girl characters. It's in this manga. It looks like the whole world looks completely white out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Nihei does a good job of the scenery and the buildings. It's like um he and the character designs you see like that's Esro after they can actually like transform and have armor around them in
Oh,
battle mode. It's kind of reminds me of like Kamen Rider kind of
Yeah.
thing where
battle form.
Yeah.
so yeah, Nihei does a very good job of these like character design and like the setting as well. Like the
Yeah,
building seems like Star Wars-esque when it's doing the boom
boom.
Yeah.
going up. Yeah. So
Yeah, we Kodansha has been working with Nihei for quite some time, and in 2016, I believe, when Blam was coming out on Netflix as an anime series, we had this like a little party that I wanted to show you some footage of if you guys are interested.
yeah.
Yeah,
All
go
right,
for it. Go for it.
all right, let's party up.
Party it.
That's me right there. Yeah, and we party hardy that time. And that's why I got this T-shirt right here,
Oh yeah,
the Blam T-shirt.
Nihei was wearing it too, huh? In the
Yeah,
video.
yeah. So we got Apple Sims as well as Blam and Knights of Sidonia available from Vertical.
Yep.
Why don't
And
you just like check it out, all of them already?
yeah,
Why not? Yeah.
and it's simulpub right now, right?
Yes, Apple Sims is available on Crunchyroll and Comixology as the new chapter comes out. So check that out.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next pick right here. Dragon Head. To some of you, this might be like a throwback title because originally it was a Tokyo Pop series, and it was never completed until we brought it back as a digital series that's actually available. All 10 volumes are available now. And to get you into the vibe, I will show you the first couple pages of this manga because I think it really tells like the premise of it like really good. So this like kid Teru wakes up, like, and then suddenly he's already thrown into this like terrible mess where he's in like a complete dark. Looks like an accident happened on the train that he was riding, and then yeah, it's just like total disastrous moment. And he starts to get going. He seems to be able to move around, so he starts to see if there's anybody else who's alive. Doesn't seem like it. So he walks, try to get out of the tunnel that the train crashed in, and then finds out that the opening entrance was completely closed. So he's completely shut in this tunnel in the pitch dark, and that's how everything starts. What happened? Like, how could he get out of this situation? What happened to this world? You have to find out by reading the entire series that is now available from Kodansha Comics. I don't know, this manga, like, it was kind of memorable to me because some of my non-manga friends like talked to me about it. Hey, like, oh, you work in manga. I remember this series from Tokyo Pop back in the days where this like kid is on a train and it gets into an accident. Ooh, dragon head. This was like a couple of the conversation happened like this, which made me think that there was like a far more wider reach than just like a typical manga. Like, it really captured the 90s, late 90s, 2000 feel of the Japanese contents had back in the days. So Dragon Head, check it out if you're into these kind of like disaster movie type situation.
Yeah. No, and that's the kind of interesting thing, like to talk about the idea that I think that when people think of manga, like they have a very like folks who don't know or don't read it very often have a very narrow perspective of what
Right.
it's about. But you know, sometimes folks are surprised, like the kind of things that manga can be about. Like I think like manga is one of those mediums where you have a story about any genre. Like, you know, we're talking about you know, apocalyptic settings for these couple of stories, but I mean, there's also things like, you know, the romance, like we showed a little bit earlier, and then, you know, there's even things like sports or cooking or wine, like with Drops in God that we had. So I think that like what's important to note is that, like, you know, if you think that like manga might not be for you because of what you think it is, there's a manga story for like
everybody. I agree. I totally agree on that one. So since actually you mentioned about some of the romance series, you guys want to talk about the the next category, which is called My Love Was a Manga. This is a nice change of a pace from all these dark manga that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So the first one up is Ivan's choice. Yuri Is My Job.
Yeah, Yuri Is My Job. Like I picked this up. I don't know, like I was at New York Comic Con last year. Did a manga panel with Eric Friedman and Misaki. I believe like you were on it as well.
Oh, Erica Freeman's all about Yuri manga. That's why, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she recommended like some of these series. It was like, you know, this is a very fun manga, and I was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna check it out. And I think that this is fun as heck. Like Yuri, for folks who aren't familiar with it, like it is essentially like a girl romance. And it ranges from like very innocent to explicit, depending on like, you know, what kind of stories you're reading. But you know, this is more of a story like if folks who are fans of anime know Orient Host Club.
Yeah.
It is along those lines. It centers around a cafe experience. Particularly in this one, it is about a girls' cafe that centers around a fictional girls' academy. But what's fun about this story is that like the main character that you follow is a seemingly like at school, at a normal school, a perfect like cute, dainty girl, like that beams like good feelings, and everybody loves her and they want to protect her.
But there's a catch, right?
But there's a catch. Like on the inside, she knows that it's all an act. That
that's dark.
Yeah, Which like I think is one of the things that if you're a fan of The Good Place, I think that this is actually like a fun read.
Oh, that's a
Uh,
nice comp.
where I think Kristen Bell's character, she's not a great person when she shows up in The Good Place, but then like struggles to try to be good. And I think like in this story, you very much get like the 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 bad side up front, like through the inner dialogues of the main character. You see like, oh, they're not a great person, and their only goal in being good is to like marry a billionaire one day, and it's
She's a gold digger.
yeah. So like it's very funny to see this character thrown into situations where her facade gets kind of like scrutinized.
Taken
uh
apart.
yeah, because like through a chance encounter with the person who runs the cafe, the fictional cafe, uh they're like, okay, well, you need to help me out because I'm injured now, and like you need to get into this situation. And she thinks like, oh, it's a cafe where you're supposed to get people to like you. I do that already every day. I'm gonna be great at this. uh
I'm all about that.
yeah, and then she stumbles, and part of it is because like her facade starts to crack.
Okay.
Like the reality of who she is starts to come out. And I think that uh I'm only a couple volumes in, like it starts to have some really interesting character development. Like I think in the same way where The Good Place, Kristen Bell's character uh ends up becoming a better person through all these sort of like empathetic experiences. This character starts to change, like realizing that the facade isn't everything, and there are people around her that will be able to see through it. And then what does she do in that case? Um,
Is the one of the other character that is shown on the cover, is she one of those people?
yeah, no, it's really fun. Like what this is like a scene that shows you kind of like the dichotomy of this manga is that because it's supposed to be a cafe where like Yuri happens, or these like very sort of romance fueled interaction between these girls. um you get both the hyper shoujo view where like the scenery suddenly changes to like sparkles and flowers and things everywhere,
Over the top.
over the top. And then you also get like intercut with like the audience reaction, or like the cafe patrons, like
I
when you see
see
the
here.
wow,
Wow.
yeah. And so like I think that's hilarious. Like it also plays with the idea of what is fake, what is real, and what is an act and what is not. And so like I think that only adds to the humor. You're saying that like the character that on the cover is definitely a person who sees through her facade, but in the setting of the cafe has to maintain this sort of like appearance, like I am your benevolent senpai, and you are
The
my
older sister
kohai.
figure.
Yeah. um but like quickly, like behind the scenes, it's very much like, stop messing up, why are you like this?
It's
uh
turning right
yeah,
here.
yeah, I love the second page in this is like, get your little sister act together, like
Oh my
uh
god.
and I think that's part of the humor of this manga, is that there's a constant play between the fake and the real, like in a way that like makes you laugh, but also like when you know there's a point where the senpai sort of explains how she knows this person and how she knows her to be fake, and why she probably like rides her so hard, because it's like, I know who you really are, and like you can put up this act with everybody else, but you can't put it up with me. um
Wow.
and I think that this is a really fun story, and like even in the first volume, like immediately introduces like different character relationships and friendships that you see that are going to start to grow. So I think this is a fun read that also says a lot about empathy and like how you view each other, how you view yourself. um so yeah, it's just like there are romantic angles insofar in as like playing up to the crowd and then like laughing at the audience like reaction about them. I
This is my
don't
favorite page right here.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm guessing the manga is drawn by a female artist to kind of portray this much of like kind of the dark side of the female
yeah,
characters and relationships too, but also like her art style is really carrying over here. This is like
yeah.
one of the freshest art style that I haven't seen in manga in a
Yeah,
minute.
I love the jump between these like, you know, hyper shoujo moments to like, you know, you go to the top left of this page and you see the main character is like this like mischievous gremlin. Like, hey, how you like that? So like the jump in art style is like definitely part of the humor of this story, and like I think it's definitely a fun read if you want something like a little bit semi-romantic, but also like about interpersonal relationships.
Right on. So that was Yuri is my job, and they're strictly doing it for the job.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a cool title. I'd like to read some more of that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Next one up is Kakushigoto, My Dad's Secret Ambition. Tomo, could you tell me a little bit about this title too?
Yeah. So Kakushigoto Koji Kumeta, if you recognize him, he did Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. So
Oh,
people,
that's where the art style I recognize that
yeah.
from.
And just like a tidbit, kakushigoto in Japanese, you know, there's like three meanings. You know, kakushigoto, one is like a secret, like being a secret. Two is like kakushigoto is like writing, like you draw or you write a job that you do. And the third meaning is actually the main character's name, Kakushigoto. So,
He
uh,
always does this weird character names that is a pun.
yeah, I didn't realize until like later on. I was like, oh, there's so many puns in just this title alone. And as I see the subtitle, my dad's secret ambition. So Goto is a mangaka, and the manga that he draws is more like 18 plus side. You know, you see some nudity and some weird jokes like that. So
He's
and
a
he has
popular mangaka, right?
yeah, he's very popular actually in the
Yeah.
story. And but the thing is, he doesn't want his daughter to know, so because he doesn't want her to feel embarrassed in front of her friends or feel like, oh no, my dad is some kind of perverted guy. So he does
Some
everything
perverted guy.
and to like hide it, right? He wants to just she won't know. So this scene actually is when his new editor accidentally comes to his house and Goto's like, what, why are you here, you know? And then and he's wearing this the merch, the shirt that Goto like the comic he draws, and then he doesn't want his daughter to know about it, so obviously he says, hey, do some poses. So
Is this the t-shirt discussion that they were having?
yeah, they were having a discussion, and it's kind of funny because it, you know, they're asking him, hey, what kind of shirt do you want us to make? And he says, I don't care, just make it wearable. And in his mind, wearable is what the, you know, means the examples that you give, the silhouette one, or just the name, the title of the series, or just some panels or some like
You
kind
mean
of
those
funky.
like nerd shirt that you can wear without being embarrassed?
Yes, exactly.
The
But
subtle nerdy.
don't put the character up onto the t-shirt.
But he did though clearly in this frame. The
In this,
editor's wearing the t-shirt was like a full-on character.
exactly. So
It says the tights in the wind. Is that the title of his
yeah,
The
series?
title, yeah.
That's the title. And he's trying to, you know, cross his arms, and then and his daughter is like, are you a CEO? Are you
A
a
big
big shot?
shot.
Yeah.
My new
And
mom.
then Goto's like, yo, you're an editor. Stop acting like a big shot. He's like, okay, let me change it to this pose. And then Hime's like, are you my mom?
Not quite.
Yeah.
And then he
She's so
does different
innocent.
poses, and then she kind of interprets them in different ways. And so I think it's funny in the terms of like you can see Hime's humor and her point of view of things, and
Oh,
also like Goto's point of view of him as a father and as a mangaka. And also it's fun to see like you see like kind of the background of mangaka as well. You get to see a peek inside of mangaka's life. just like the shirt making process, the merch making process.
It is pretty real.
Yeah. And then the thing is with this is like the manga is compiled into short stories, and so you can basically pick it up. You can read the story in the middle of the book, and it's still, you can get the humor of it. I feel like it's like like a casual game, right? You can play it anywhere. You can, while you're
Jump
traveling.
in anywhere.
Yeah, you can read it on while you're in the restroom or whatever. And
That's what it seems like. No, that he's not in the restroom here, but he's
Oh,
what?
yeah.
This is
And
when he's drawing manga. He's completely naked.
Yeah. So he can only draw manga when he's naked, like this series. For
Yeah,
some reason.
right.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like they talk about like that's definitely like how we started. Like what I do like is that there's a lot of sort of conversations around like how being a parent changes you. And like that like author photo, it's funny because like his assistants talk about like, oh, he used to be a lot worse. Like now he wears shorts, flip-flops and a t-shirt, but before he used to just draw naked.
Straight naked.
Yeah, because like the idea was that like he could only draw comfortable, like when he's comfortable. And I guess for him, like naked was comfortable.
It's comfortable,
yeah.
right?
But like, the assistants say that like it took him a long time to get from drawing naked to like drawing in like flip-flops and a t-shirt, and part of that was because he became a father.
He's
and
making a progress.
yeah. And where I think there's like this story is like very cute is the idea that like the father character, like, yes, he's kind of like an ecchi mangaka, but like you don't actually see that stuff as much as you see like his relationship with his daughter, his relationship with his work, and then just sort of like trying to keep up this elaborate lie of what he actually does. So it's like very like there are references to like his sort of raunchy stuff, but like you rarely get to see like glimpses of it, and more it's about their daily lives and like the how to keep this facade up.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it's a dual life of a mangaka slash dad.
Yeah.
I just remembered that this is actually a new anime that's coming out this season too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's available from Funimation.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in the anime, check it out. But you should also check out the manga because you get to see more of that.
Yeah. You get to see all the funny facial expressions from like all the people.
I love the facial expressions.
Yeah.
Right on. So I want to talk about one more recently animated series called My Roomie is a Dino. My Roomie wants to make a guest appearance. Here's a dino right here. Ah.
Oh.
That is that dino.
It's actually just my hand sanitizing gloves.
Yeah.
Safety measure. But he's getting really popular as he appeared in anime, so he wanted to make a guest appearance.
Fair.
So that story of Dino, this is one of my favorite new series that has came out because it's just like I'm a huge sucker for gag series. And then the whole story starts out with like this main character Kaede. She had too much to drink the night before, and she remembered that she has to let in a dinosaurus in her little tiny studio apartment. But she doesn't care. She truly doesn't care, and she carries on her day, leaving Dino behind at her home, just like let him stay. She's a homegirl as far as I'm concerned. And she goes to work and just leaves the dino there. And he doesn't mind it either. He doesn't say much, and except that you can hear his like stomach growl. He stays there all day until he's awakened by the sound of the girl making some dinner. And check out his face when she tries to feed him a cat food. I guess that's not his favorite kind of food.
Yeah.
But he's like kind of eyeing on her cup noodles, so she makes one. But she's like, oh wait a minute, like should the dino even eating cup of noodle. Like, you know, I kind of Google that too. Like whenever I'm like trying to feed an animal, like, is this animal supposed to eat this? Like, so she's like doing it, and he's like, you know, getting mad. Is he waiting? He's like, oh wait, doesn't have any information about what dinosaurs are supposed to eat. He's useless. And she's like, oh well, just go ahead and eat it. And he has this like very ritualistic way of eating ramen, which is like a very staple move for all of us who has experience of eating cup ramen. She's like, this is not your first rodeo. You have eaten cup of noodle before. So this is like a very chill, like slow life between this girl and non-speaking dinosaurs. That is the my roomie is a dino. I wish I had a roomie as a dino during the stay-at-home order, so I made one.
Misaki, could you, like, for people who don't know, could you explain what a gag manga is?
Gag manga is like usually a comedy that is like executed in very short pages, like 8 pages or so. Like it's usually only like loosely connected chapter by chapter. It tells a full story, but you can, again, this one is one of those you can just like dive in whenever you can and however you want, because it's executed as a standalone chapter too. And I don't know, I just really like laughing my butt off reading manga. That's one of my favorite moments of reading manga. So highly recommended. Check out the anime from Funimation as well on this one. That's also like a short series too that you can just kind of easily watch between your work break or something. All right. We got 10 minutes to go through the last category.
Oh man. All right.
Yeah, horror. Okay. You picked a really interesting one here again, Ivan.
Yeah, I mean, so like, very quickly, like, there's a Stephen King PTSD radio. Yeah, it is super wild. The description doesn't tell you anything about this series, which I like. It's like a
fire beat in the blood, shadow.
I think that's like a plus and a minus just for the description, just because like you don't know what you're getting into, and so you can be surprised when you actually experience it. I think that it's funny that, you know, we go from like talking about a gag manga to like something like this. Like it is very much a collection of short burst horror stories. Like it's like I've seen a chapter that was 4 pages, and all it is like giving you glimpses of creepy moments, creepy things that are all loosely connected to each other. There might be a continuing story, but like you don't really realize it until you're like a couple of volumes in. Because there's no central character, there's just central like themes or like images that keep coming up, and that you assume is like, oh, you know, is this connected to this other story, or is this connected to this other event? And the thing is, like, this story takes place in feudal Japan. It takes place in post-war Japan. It takes place in modern Japan. Like it's this idea that curses and ghosts and things like that transcend time and affect people in different ways. Which, you know, I think that like there are stories that exist out there, like It, or like by Stephen King, or Uzumaki by Junji Ito, where there are these sort of like collection of stories that connect to a greater horror. And you know, I think it's funny that we're talking about like horror, but like you know, and talking about Stephen King again, like there's a book that I'm reading called Dance Macabre, where it's just him talking about horror. He says that horror is a way for people to understand their fears. And I think that this is an interesting, like, trying to understand the fears of the supernatural, or like the dead, or, you know, curses and things like that.
I see.
But yeah, if you want to like flip through some of the stuff, like this author does a great job of like splash page horror that feel like jump scares.
Like boom, like this.
Because like you don't expect, like, it's like the page four is like, oh, I have this girlfriend that I really love and she's great, and then like, but she has this one thing she does Uh,
She's like staring at you all night.
yeah, it is just like, why is she staring at like there is a lot of people like in these stories that like will deny that these things are happening, sometimes to their detriment, and sometimes like just because they don't want to face the fears that are like right in front of them. And I think that that's an idea too.
I see.
But yeah, like to go quickly for like the next stuff, like there's these stories that he does, these like chapter breaks where it's just like I compiled them all into one just so you can read it, because I didn't even realize they all connect together. There'll be these chapter breaks where it's just a black page and a line of text at the bottom. And going through it yesterday, it's like I see it that in itself tells its own little story.
Yeah.
Um,
Who is that behind you?
Yeah,
A faraway neighborhood. With arms and two fingers.
And then like and then beyond that, there are like other chapter break images that like you can't tell what's happening until you see them in sequence, where it's like there is a slow unraveling horror. Like if Misaki, if you want to like
this one,
where like these are spread out through like different chapters.
Oh
and
my
so
god!
You're like, wait, what is happening?
I didn't want to go through that for anymore. Damn.
So like I think that this is a horror story on like so many different levels, and I think it's like super cool. That like if you give it the time to like go through the stories, like it's very interesting.
Right on.
But there's also like a true ghost story. Like I won't go into it, but there's a true ghost story from the manga that starts in volume 5. So check it out. It's wild. He almost died.
He had a ghost story that he personally experienced.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another horror factor on top of these terrifying visuals.
Right.
So
right. Yeah.
Check out the PTSD radio. Next one is Ajin, Demi-Human. This one is a anime that's on Netflix too, right?
Yeah, the anime as well. Yeah, Ajin Demi-Human by Gamon Sakurai. So this is kind of focuses on Kei, who's just like he looks like a typical school kid, but one day he gets run over by a truck, and then finds out that he's an Ajin, and Ajin are like kind of beings that never die, basically. So
Ajin never dies.
They never die. So yeah, it's interesting because you can the Ajin also you can detach from yourself and control like a remote control person as well. And so it's where society still doesn't know what Ajin are, so the general public kind of fears them, and also discriminated against because they are different, and some of them are captured and then they're experimented on, so like they just keep shooting one and then see how it revives, and they're doing inhumane experiments. And then Kei right here on this panel, he's considered like a good Ajin, and he's trying to fight this the leader of the bad Ajin, who is Sato, who's an ex-military guy. And it's kind of like a cat and mouse game where they're trying to one up each other, and just the tactics that the author uses in terms of the fighting. And there's a lot of guns. So for example, they're trying to capture Sato, and they use a tranquilizer gun, so he can sleep and capture him. But he's very smart. He captures the tranquilizer, he lets it hit him, and then before he goes to sleep, he shoots himself in the head, so he dies, and then he can revive and be back to normal again. So those kind of those kind of like those psychological, this stuff makes you think. I feel like it's a lot like Venom or X-Men, where you have the good mutant and the bad mutant trying to battle each other, and who's right, who's wrong. And the battle scenes are so great. Like,
this is an epic battle scene right here. You have a very high ability to just do like physical combats too.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the mangaka did a lot of research, or he was like ex-military. It's very it grabs you, and I'm just like, how did he come up with this idea?
Right on. This is a incredible series right here. If you're really like a fan of like a dark thriller type of movies, like it's already kind of reads like a movie. So like, highly recommended if you like that kind of genre.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Uh, Last but not least, I would like to talk about Gleipnir, which is also a brand new anime series that's currently ongoing. Oh shoot! It says 16 plus, but you know what? This one is rated M for a good reason too. Sorry about that. Because I'll give you a little bit of spoiler, but without going in too much into like the gory and sexy part of it too. Like the story starts out with the main character strangling the heroine girl. I'm like, what is going on here? This is like uneasy. It's like the worst part of it is, and the best part of it is that it's drawn like a really nicely drawn art, like almost like reminds me of Your Lie in April, and also the relationship between the two characters. Also, a guy is like a more like an average shy guy, and the girl is more like a spunky, very like hot-headed person, but she's also very smart too. The main character finds himself to have this ability to turn into a monster, but what it's a monster, but it looks really cute like this. And there's not much of an explanation in the beginning why he turns into that form, and he's obviously kind of like tortured by this condition that he has, but he uses his ability to save this girl, and she starts to blackmail him. And they also find out more about his body and the functions that he has when he's a monster, and he has a big zipper on his back, and when she undo the zipper, they find nothing in there except this like really muscly kind of gross body parts inside, and it's like they're wondering why that zipper is there, and they find out that she can actually walk in and go inside of his body through the zipper. So combined her very hot-headed personality and his like bodily function, they start to kick some butt of some rivals who has the same ability. So the fight gets pretty serious too. I'm not showing like the worst of the shots right here, but it gets pretty brutal, which I like. And that's why I'm putting this series into a recommendation. So check out Gleipnir. The anime is available from Funimation, and the manga is available also. So sorry about rushing through at the end, but thank you so much for all of you guys to stick with us. Once again, our mangas are available on these channels. I'd like to also thank WonderCon for giving us this opportunity to talk about our manga, because without these type of opportunities, the fans may not know about the new series that's coming out from Kodansha. So actually, a request to you guys who are viewing this video, if you see any manga that you like, that you just found out about, let us know through social media by hashtag the Kodansha got weird manga, and tag us our social media accounts. And also you can let your friends know about it too, so that the more the merrier. The more people are reading about our manga, we can talk about it like this, like we did today. So yeah, let's thank you very much for sticking with us, and we would like to talk to you guys more about manga the next chance that we got.
Thank you,
So
everybody. Thank you, WonderCon.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Bye.
and have a good day.